I think if the scripts are really well written, then the emotion is there anyway. The sort of the pace of the street is so intense. Do you know what I mean? You'll get your script. You'll maybe have your script for a week. You get your schedule. You turn up on Monday morning, say, and 8:15 you can be doing a scene where you're absolutely crying your eyes out.
But they do try to. They are, in answer to the question, they are very gentle. If you were doing a scene where you were crying,
that's what I was.
They don't. Sometimes, if you just crap, they say cut. But if it's is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
There will be more often than not, as I recall. They will just
keep going.
Yeah, I used
we've got
to.
to cut now. They'll just you cut now. We just got a problem, and the floor will be silent.
Yeah.
And then the floor manager will walk by and they say, "Okay, kids, we're going to go again too."
Yeah.
And then, so they are aware of.
And they will give
Good
you
question.
It's a very good question. And they will give you time if you need to build yourself up to get to that place.
Yeah.
We'll say when you're ready. I don't know. I used to say just give a minute and then just nod and just keep your thoughts in my head and then go for it.
Yeah, that's what I was.
They'll let you go when you're ready.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're very good like that.
Yeah.
The girls have a magic thing called a tear stick.
I never used that.
Oh, none of them use it ever.
I'm quite sniffy about the tear stick. They'd say, "Would you want this?" Thank you. I'll do it myself. But no, I mean the crew were really respectful when I used to say, "Can I just have a couple of minutes?" And they'd say, and I'd just disappear behind the set and just take you. But they are genuinely caring because,
It's not easy.
No.
Half the time Julia cried though, I went with her because it was unbelievable.
And it is what we're paid to do. I mean, that is our job. But yeah, they are very respectful. If it's a big emotional scene, then and then that does happen. Quite a lot, I suppose. Really, in the street. I know it's led and predominantly funny, if you like, with a lot of humour in it. But there's a lot of real serious drama in it. And the crew, they're very genuine, and they do help.
They would try and schedule it as well if you had a lot of emotional scenes. They would try and schedule it so you filmed it chronologically, which we don't normally film chronologically, but say if you had, a day where you were in a hospital doing a lot of emotional scenes, they would try and film it chronologically so that, they're helping you out, really.
We have floor managers who, go all the way back. I mean, we've got, I think probably the youngest is Dale. But, and she was looking after us as a second assistant for a long time. But we were working certainly with people who did Jewel and the Crown, you remember, stuff like that years ago. We were talking about people who worked on film. We've got guys, guys like Big John Newman and all that, Pete Shaw. These guys have made Sherlock Holmes on film, Jewel and the Crown, etc., etc. And they're looking after the floor in charge of us. We've always been given the top boys. And it's a good question, and they are very careful with actors, and you do need that when you're doing big scenes like that. As an actor, I think Jules said, you would pop behind the screens. And
just disappear behind the set. And
I would just pace like an idiot.
No,
everybody's different. Everybody's different.
To do,
and they just say, when you're ready, baby.
When you're ready. It was, they were really respectful about things like that.
I don't know who to pick. I'll pick you because you got a sad face.
I do have one question, but before I ask my question, I really just wanted to say thank you from all of us for coming all the way. I think for all of us here, we've all, to some degree, grown up with Coronation Street here in Canada. It's been a very popular show here for a lot of years. We've had the pleasure of welcoming a number of the characters here over the years at the British Isles show so that we could have a chance to meet you in person. But for me personally, I've been watching the shows for more years than I could probably count. I think the first episode I watched was when Ken Barlow's former wife Janet came back to number 1 and killed herself with a bottle of pills up in the bedroom there. So it's been a lot of years, and
you don't look that old.
I am. But we all have very busy lives and stressful lives, and it really, for me, means a lot to just get absorbed in all of your characters and all of your lives on the street, and just have that 1 hour a day where I can escape from my real world and fall into the characters on the street. And last year I was in Manchester, and I had a very distinct.
City.
Yeah, it's beautiful. My family's from Preston.
That's
and
not so
Tipperary.
nice.
But, you know, just how exciting it was. I spent the entire day outside the studio, and just how approachable a lot of the characters were that would come out on their breaks or in and out from work and take the time to stop and say hello to you. And I had the pleasure of meeting some characters that I have watched on television for a number of years. So anyways, thank you very much. It's really been a pleasure to meet all of you today. Thank you for the photographs and for the time.
It's nice of you to say, because that is a part of I think the perception of the audience has changed. I remember when in the latter years when I was there, we had a guy who came into the studio who was working for the Daily Mail, which is a daily newspaper over in the UK, and he kind of had carte blanche to go through the studio, which is unheard of, I had to say. They don't allow, but I had struggled getting my own family through the door, you know, so they allowed him to go into the studio and the green room and just observe, really. We didn't really know he was there. And what he came up with was that the perception of the audience over the last sort of 10 years has changed, really, with the onset of the other soaps. With big storylines and plane crashes and divorce and drugs and all that sort of carry on. And I think going back, the audience did have. There was certainly a long period of time where they wanted to get to know the character over a period of years. I mean, even as a child, I knew that Jack was going to get found out when he went to the bookies, and Vera was going to tell him off. But that's what the characters over a period of time. That's what they do, and it's nice to know that that's still the case, because, like I say, a lot of the audiences now just want the big storylines and the hard hitting stuff. And although it's good to do, it's nice to know that there's still people out there who want to get to know everybody or the characters from start to finish.
Can I ask my question, even though I rambled on? Oh, God. Okay. I'm sorry. I do have one quick.
I knew you'd be trouble. That was the face. What did you say? False sense of security, though.
You fell for the sad face.
I did, yeah. Right? Puppy dog eyes.
So, will they ever open? I know Granada Studios is moving. And when is it moving? And will they ever open it up again for fans to be able to come in and tour? Do you know it? Do you know anything about that? No.
Well, I do know that it is moving. The Media City UK, which has been built over the last God knows how many years, they've been talking about it for a long time.
Definitely going there. It is definitely moving. Apparently they're moving it brick by brick as well. They're going to rebuild it brick by brick.
Yeah, they are going to take the whole thing down from Granada, which is town centre, middle of Manchester city centre. Not that it's difficult to get to, but I think it will give the guys a different base. Away from the city centre, and predominantly I think it's down to money more than anything. As we've just been talking about that backstage. It's the times financially recently have been tricky for everybody, and it's no different for big organisations like Granada TV, and so whether they're going to open it up again, I don't know.
I don't think so. I wouldn't count your chickens.
No.
No, I think as I've said before, I think the whole industry has changed enough for them to care less, and I'm sad about that. Yeah. But I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I would suspect the way it's set up is that unless... There will always be people turning up, and when we're in the Rovers, or I remember bygone days of yore, as latter days, people would turn up and you were never quite sure who the hell they were, and then filmed after who they were. But it's all changing now, and people are becoming... And when we were there were never any screens. There was a huge big lawn in front where we used to play cricket.
Yeah.
There was railings, but there was no kind of there was no screens. Well, now you can't see anything. There are huge walls everywhere. So, but that's all part of things changing. So those days aren't going to come back. I wish they would, but don't get me wrong, there are some loons outside the gate. There are some loonies out there you don't want to meet. You think it's real.
Been there, done it.
I hate to disappoint you, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't real. So, you know, but they're there. Fine, they're going to be everywhere. But I don't think so, baby. I think you're going to have to thank your lucky stars you've been there and enjoyed it, because I don't think that those days are going to come back. Unless you work for Shell or something, or you're going to sponsor the show, in which case you'll be able to come into the dressing room.
Let's go a bit further back. Go. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I just want 2 comments. Claire, you should have hit Tracy harder. I'm really Americanized. You guys are leaning a little bit towards too big, too much like the American soaps. That's what I loved about this one, is that it's more real life.
Yeah.
Not everybody wears designer clothes, not everybody is more real. That's not your character.
What did you think of that story?
I can't, sorry.
Sheriff, his way of leaving the street was...
Me? Yeah. It was complete nonsense. but I mean, I said that, and look, this is... let's nail this on the head once and for all. Yeah. We all know, I don't know what sort of tabloids you get over here, but I'm not telling porkies here, or I'm not telling lies, or not saying out of school. It's common knowledge. Beverly's been poorly for a couple of years. God bless her. I love her. She's been poorly, okay? Now, she found that for whatever reason things were difficult for her, and she wasn't able to continue. So my storyline had to come to an abrupt end. Now, for whatever reason, I'm not going into politics, but that's not what we're here. Anyway, and this ridiculous storyline turned up, but in 3 bloody episodes I was robbing a bank.